beers last night, and then I forgot to get them out of the car, and I'm afraid they're going to explode in there. So
that wouldn't be great.
Sticky mess.
That would be a mess.
Inspired by the adventures of our nurses, therapists, and techs, A Beer with Atlas is the only healthcare traveling, craft beer drinking podcast. Each week, we'll open a few beers, talk about the brewery and the style of beer, and then dive into some research curated specifically for each episode. In the end, we hope each one sounds like a conversation you'd have with your friends while enjoying a few cold ones.
Welcome to another episode of A Beer with Atlas. I'm Rich.
I'm Brian.
I'm Dolan.
We're going back to the 70s on this one.
Oh.
I love the 70s.
I do too.
That's because we were from the 70s.
We are definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great time.
I mean, who would you even know to tell you about it? Us, I guess.
I guess. His dad.
Yeah, maybe.
His dad told him about it.
How old?
Right?
When was your dad born? 70.
9.
So he barely knew about it.
So, I'm 5 years older than his dad.
Yeah.
That's bad. From Revision Brewing Company in Sparks, Nevada, we have Disco Ninja, New England Style Hazy IPA. So very, very disco-looking can.
It looks like the dance floor Saturday Night Fever.
It does.
I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Dolan, that's a famous movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You've definitely seen clips of it. How's that?
Two things I'm very familiar with.
Okay.
The 70s
Yeah.
and
And
movies.
Saturday
And
Night
movies.
Fever?
Saturday Night Fever, man.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines of all time comes from that movie.
Oh, okay.
In the very beginning, when John Travolta is sitting at the table with his dad.
Oh, yeah.
And they're
I know what you're
eating,
talking
you know what
about.
I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
And his dad smacks him on the back of the head, like any good dad would do in
Right.
the 70s, right? And Travolta says, "I work on my hair, and you hit it."
Mm-hmm.
And like,
It was very important to him.
It was.
You know, he had to look good.
He was, yeah.
He had to comb that hair.
Yeah.
Did one of you guys have the quote from the can
No.
on here?
What is it?
Oh my gosh.
No,
It's
I didn't-
awesome.
I
So
didn't
I'm
know
going to
the
read
can.
it before
Okay.
we get into it.
Okay.
It's a simple, universal fact that ninjas are badass. You know what else is badass? Revision beer. Our buddies at Shoe Tree Brewing kicked around ideas with us to develop this tasty, tantalizing karate chop in your freaking mouth. Kaleidoscopic nunchuck hits to the dome with Citra, Galaxy, Mosaic, and Amarillo.
Yeah.
Stealthily slaying your taste buds one sip at a time.
It's very alliterative, too.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice.
Good job.
I like
All
it.
right.
Well, it's kind of a tongue twister.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Karate chop in your freaking mouth.
So, Citra, Galaxy, Mosaic, and Amarillo, those are all old school hops.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like West Coast hops. How's it work?
I love it. Oh my gosh, that's good. Holy
all
smokes.
right. Let's
get
get
a
into
drink
it
there. I'll talk a little bit. You get a drink there.
Okay.
40 IBU?
44 IBUs, is that right? Yeah.
40. Yeah.
Revision has two different locations, one at 380 Rock Boulevard in Sparks, Nevada. The second location is called the Picnic Pub, Pignic, Picnic Pub and Patio, located at 235 Flint Street in Reno, Nevada, which leads me to believe that's where we got these beers from.
Okay.
This one at least, and maybe last week's too, quite
What's
honestly.
Reno's nickname?
The biggest little city in the world.
Something like that. I remember that from a certain TV show. Mm-hmm. Disco Ninja.
Disco Ninja, yeah.
Wow.
They got some pretty great hours, too. Monday through Thursday, 1 to 9. Friday and Saturday, noon to 10. And Sunday, noon to 8. Now, the Reno location, that's the Sparks location. Reno, biggest little city in the world.
Right.
3 p.m. to midnight, Monday through Friday. Saturday, noon to 3 a.m.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, they're not screwing around on Saturdays.
3 a.m.
Noon to 3 a.m. And then Sunday, noon to midnight. So...
I wonder if I could sit there from noon to 3 a.m.
I could too.
I think I could do it.
is there food? Do they have food?
Yes,
Well, then I bet you could.
they do.
Are
bet
you
you could.
awake while you're sitting there?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're,
because
you're consuming.
I was just winging it.
Propped out on
I
the
could
picnic
probably
table?
sit there till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be awake.
Look, Brian hasn't been in a brewery for 2.5 years
It's
now.
been a long time.
Right?
Especially
So-
one like not in my neighborhood.
Right.
Where I just picked up beers and left. But like to go somewhere and actively, the reason to go is to be in a brewery.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's my dream right now.
That first one, you're going to go hard.
Oh, it's going to be bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like vomiting in the Uber back to your hotel
Well,
bag.
let's hope it's not that bad.
Okay,
I try not to drink to where I throw up, but
That's like a $50 charge, quite honestly.
yeah,
if
you don't want to do that.
No, don't do
That's
that.
why you make somebody else drive you.
Yeah.
Okay, here's some of the other beers that they had, because they had quite a few, to be honest, and they looked pretty good. First, I want to say that their logo, the top part of that can, looks an awful lot like Infusion.
It totally does.
Doesn't it?
It's the same font, isn't
It's like
it?
the same font and the same shape. It's not a parallelogram, but it's something close to that, whatever that is on the top of the can where it says Revision. That's the first thing I thought of. Okay, they have a beer called RBL Light.
RBL.
So Revision Brewing Light.
Okay.
So it's like their version of a Bud Light. So when people wander in and say,
Give me Bud Light.
yeah, here you go.
Yep.
There's our version. They have one called El Repaso, which is a Mexican style lager. It looked like it was a big seller there.
Yum.
And it looked very nice. It had a green can, and it looked kind of like, the Budweiser logo, kind of. It has like a circle with some triangles sticking out of it. It had that sort of look to it.
Interesting.
Then they have one called Doubled Up IPA. They have a rotating hazy,
Okay.
always changing. Like it looked like maybe 6 of them, so maybe every 2 months or so there's a new hazy beer. They have a rotating West Coast IPA series, which I've never seen before.
That's interesting.
Then they have barrel-aged stouts, pastry stouts, imperial stouts. One of the hazy beers caught my attention.
Okay.
It's called Leafy Greens. And they also have one called Hazy Leafy Greens. And I wrote this down. Dig the dabalicious, savor the stank. Leafy Greens presents an increase by orders of magnitude of certain hops that are known for their familiar pungent aroma.
I see what they're going for there.
Yes.
Yep.
And they had 2 different varieties of that one. But I'd be interested in drinking that beer.
So it's a popular around the 420 time,
It is,
right?
Lagunitas has their version. Enjoy by
Yep.
Stone has one. There's a couple other people that have those sorts.
New Belgium has one.
They might cross strain this year.
Yeah, for the second year.
Yeah,
third
and
year
this
in a row?
one year was
not
amazing.
quite as pungent this year.
No,
but,
it was more fruity. It was good.
That first time they tapped it and they started pouring, it smelled like a Colorado establishment.
Like a Red Rocks concert.
Possibly, yes.
Some of the merch that they had that I hadn't seen before. Branded golf balls.
Oh,
So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. There were certain beers. It wasn't the brewery. It was like one of the IPAs that they had. I think it was this one actually was on the golf ball.
okay.
They had growlers, glass growlers that you could buy. So maybe in Nevada, it's
Nobody
one of those
does that anymore.
states that you can take anybody's growler to.
Oh,
Because most places now are going away from them.
they don't fill them up
You
anymore.
don't even get like the half 32 ouncer ones. Those were a thing for a while. Now it's just all,
Right,
growlers.
right.
Or canned crowlers, I guess. And then they had this thing called Poor Decisions.
Pour, like, as in-
Yep.
okay.
And it was a unicorn laying on the ground with a bunch of empty beer cans all around it. So it's like that was some, I don't know if it was a beer or you could buy, also on their website, you could buy kegs.
Oh,
So
okay.
in their merchandise section, you could be like, oh, I'd like a keg of this, this, and this. And it was not that bad pricing. Like, I think $130
Oh.
for a big keg. That's
Okay.
pretty good.
For a full size?
Yeah.
Wow.
We've mentioned the Picnic Pub and Patio
Picnic, yes.
in Reno. That's a play on words. They have inside 3 themed rooms that you can rent. One of them is called the Study. One of them is the Trophy Room, and the other is the Parisian Powder Room.
Oh.
Outside, they have 3 or 4 different patio areas that you can rent. They all come with a different kind of theme too. One of them was, just off the top of my head, I can remember what it's called, like the Edible Garden, where they have an actual garden. There's like blueberries and strawberries, and you can like just sit there and drink beer and eat fruit.
And eat fruit off the vine?
Yeah, if you wanted to do that, it looked like that was available. Most of the things had picnic tables, they had fire pits, they had those fire pit tables, like
Yep.
like some places have with chairs, like a square.
Yep.
You can sit around those. So it looked like you could reserve and or rent these areas. It's by a lake in Reno. So they had like really great views of the sunset going over the water. So it would be like something if you had like a company outing or a birthday party and you wanted to be outside, you could rent a space at this place. And they has like full service bar and they'll bring you food and that sort of stuff if you order inside.
I feel a meet and greet coming on here, right?
That'd be cool.
Why not?
Right?
So here's some of the food because I knew you guys would want to know about this. Here's the two of the starters: firecracker elote shrimp.
Oh.
So I wrote that one for Dolan.
Yep.
It's exactly what you'd think it would be. It's all the toppings of the corn with shrimp.
But on shrimp.
With some spicy shrimp.
That's interesting.
Is there corn in it too?
There was corn on it, yeah. Oh. And then they had pig Nick tachos. Because I know he likes the tacho.
I love tots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had those. They had a burger there that's called the Pig Shack Classic.
Okay.
And the ingredient list read to me basically an upscale Big Mac.
Okay.
That's what this is.
All right.
And we talked about a beer earlier before we were on air today. That was a cheeseburger looking design. So that made me think of that. Sometimes they do brunch. Sometimes they don't. Currently they weren't because they just didn't have enough staff to run it.
Okay.
But when they do, and I think you can still get this anyway if you went in there on like a Sunday, they do bottomless mimosas,
Okay.
micheladas, basic Bloody Marys, select beers, and then house wine. And you have a 2-hour limit. Like if
bottomless.
Yeah. So for 2 hours, as long as you buy food, an entree,
Yay.
you can get bottomless whatever.
Wow.
Any of those things.
Wow.
So definitely a place, if you have a couple hours on a Sunday, you want to go hang out in the morning and it's nice.
Dang.
That might be where you want to go do it.
For 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, that's your cutoff. And they said you can re-up your time, and buy another entree,
Go for another 2 hours.
which after 2 hours of, a pitcher of mimosas, you might need another burger or something like that. Some more elote shrimp.
That sounds really, really good, actually. That's
The pictures, it just looked like an old house. I think it was from like the 30s.
okay.
There was something on the main floor, and then they have like the brewery stuff, tap roomy thing is up on the second level of the house. But inside is like where you can rent the rooms at the bottom and then the outside patio.
Interesting.
But it looks like a house. It doesn't look like a brewery or anything like that.
I got a little bit on the brewery. Not a ton, but I got a little bit on
There
them.
wasn't a whole lot out there.
There wasn't. Here's what I found out, though. It was founded in 2017, so not that long ago.
okay.
It hasn't been around that long. But let's take a step back to July 2015. So
Okay.
2 years before that, Jeremy Warren, founder and former brewmaster of Knee Deep Brewing Company.
Heard of them.
Heard of them?
California.
Right? So the dude that started Knee Deep Brewing is now the brewmaster here at Revision.
That makes sense with all the IPAs. 'Cause
Right.
that's what Knee Deep was really known for.
He decided to, 2015, decided to sell his shares of Knee Deep Brewing to his business partner and set out to start Revision Brewing Company, where he could have total creative freedom. So he decided, you know what, maybe it wasn't the best relationship, and they came to an amicable decision, and he left and started Revision.
Well, a lot of times, this happens a lot. People work at a brewery, and they want to do stuff. They want to do their own recipes. And the brewery's like, we sell our own beer, and we do pretty good at that.
Right.
We like your ideas. Those are cool. Maybe we'll make it as a, like a one-off
just
or
small barrel or whatever.
small
Yeah.
batch thing. And that's, if you're a true artiste, that's not enough.
Nope.
You need to express yourself. Good for this guy.
Yeah, props to this guy.
Yeah.
A couple places, they looked at a few places first in California and then decided to go to Sparks to open their first brewery. So
Cool.
There's a fun timeline on their website if you're super interested in that. There's
I'll have to
go
check
through the
that out.
timeline. Yeah, it's interesting. And then when they opened the Reno location too. So that's limited information on them, but they've only been around since 2017.
Yeah,
there's not a ton.
Well,
out
and there
there.
was some pandemic thing in 2 years in the middle of that too.
That's
so
right.
good thing they came out on the other side.
I forgot about that.
I didn't.
No, I didn't.
No,
either.
you didn't.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I
It's still
didn't.
going on a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I want to talk about disco. You want to
Yeah,
talk
go
about
ahead,
disco?
yeah.
You want to go first?
No, go ahead.
I got some disco trivia for us. How's
Okay.
that?
Dolan, how do you feel about disco? Here's why I ask. Mm-hmm. A, it's, ahead of your time, before your time, I should say. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But on the flip side, it's kind of known for thumping bass.
It is.
Bass lines. That's what drives disco.
To be honest, disco is one of those genres that I just don't listen to a lot of. Like, obviously, I'm familiar with the Bee Gees, and that's about it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That pretty much covers it, though. Mm-hmm. I think you're all right with that.
So here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make a little work for Dolan on this one.
Oh, okay.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 somewhat classic disco songs.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna say the name. Dolan's gonna play a little clip, and then you're gonna guess the name of the band.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. So the first one, Disco Inferno. Disco Inferno. There it is. Just a little clip of it right there. Who do you think sang Disco Inferno? It's playing in your head right now.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Burn, Baby, Burn. Disco Inferno.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right there. All right, I'm going to tell you. It's the Tramps.
Yeah, I wouldn't
The
have guessed
Tramps.
that.
I wouldn't have guessed it.
This is neat. Okay, next one. This is an easy one. This is a gimme.
Okay.
Staying Alive.
Oh, yeah. That's we
There you
already
go.
talked about them.
It's the Bee Gees.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Number 3. This was almost a anthem for the 70s.
Okay.
I Will Survive. The original.
Yeah.
Cake.
Not the Cake remake.
That's what he was thinking.
No.
Which was actually a really good cover.
I really enjoy that cover. Wow, the name is just
You want me to tell you the
escaping
name?
me. Yeah.
It's Gloria Gaynor.
Gloria Gaynor.
Gloria
Ding,
Gaynor.
ding, ding. There you go. All right, here's this. This might be one of my favorite disco songs of all time. Ladies' Night.
I feel like that's
Not
either Kool and the Gang or the Commodores. That's who I would say.
It was the first one.
It is?
It was Cool in the
Okay.
Gang.
All
Yeah,
right.
it was Cool in the Gang.
Thank God for that song, by the way, because otherwise there would be no ladies' nights at bars.
Right?
Because without that, they don't got it. Mm-hmm. All right.
Are there still Ladies' Night Stolen? Do they still have
I
that?
think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're.
We don't
What's
know
that
because we
place
can't go. We're,
Right,
we're
that's
not
exactly
ladies.
right.
Yeah.
In theory, they have them.
Do you have to show them your pronouns before you go? Like, look, I'm she, her. Okay,
I
Ladies'
think so.
Night, you're in.
You're in.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, It's Raining Men.
It's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men. Amen. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna let myself get absolutely soaking wet.
I know this one. That's easy.
Right? Right there. There you go.
I'm so bad at band
No,
names.
no.
It's the Weather Girls.
The Weather Girls.
Girls. The Weather Girls.
They had a couple more big hits too.
Did they?
Yeah. And one of the singers went on to sing like, I almost want to say she sang the parts in the CNC Music Factory.
No.
Big hits.
No.
But they wouldn't put her in the videos because she was a bigger gal.
Oh, she's a big girl.
And in MTV, that wasn't going to do nothing. So they put somebody in there to lip sync like a model.
Oh.
But she sang, and I think she might even got a Grammy.
Really?
This would have been like 91, 92.
Who sang the Baby Got Back song? Who's that? That was
Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah.
She could have called him. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. She might have. I don't know.
I don't know. So,
But yeah, that's what I know about the Weather Girls.
finally, my last little bit of disco fun was 1977 was the release of Star Wars, right?
Yes.
1980 was The Empire Strikes Back. That was like still 80 was still disco culture-ish.
It was, grinding to a halt, but it was still
Kind
around.
of,
Yep.
yes. There was a band called Mecco. Is it Mecco?
MECCO?
MECO.
Something like
That
that.
did a disco Star Wars
Oh, yeah.
album.
I've heard that.
Oh, it's fantastic.
No.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's out there.
Is it Miko? I can't remember the name, but I remember I can close my eyes. Like my dad bought the record, and it has like dancing robots like on the or whatever.
Something to the stars or something. I remember that.
It was awesome. It was so
The only
awesome.
thing playing in my head right now is dan, dan, dan. And they're just
They actually did a disco version of the Imperial March.
Oh,
it's out
man.
there. It's out there. It's horrendous, but you can go find it. So.
dan, 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 dan,
Disco
dan.
got into every part of culture. Like it really did.
Yeah, that's too bad. I'm glad I wasn't around for
All right,
that.
so there's
It's too
my
bad.
there's my disco trivia for you.
History of the disco ball.
Oh,
Where's it come from?
interesting.
Why is it the symbol?
The mirror ball.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was first documented in 1897.
Whoa.
An electricians' union in Charlestown, Massachusetts, was having their annual party. So they have this little thing in the paper about their Christmas event or whatever they're going to have, and they had handcrafted this ball that had mirrors on it with lights on the inside. And when they plugged it in, the initials of the company, whatever it was, NBEW, illuminated out of the ball.
NBEW. Okay.
I don't know what that stands for
Okay.
because it's probably just the
Sure.
whatever, electricians, whatever. So that was the first one that I could find history of written down. Then in 1924, this guy named Louis, Louis, so Frenchish, B. Wogle, Woegle,
Woggle.
files for a patent for a myriad reflector ball in 1924.
Myriad. So like a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Described it as a sphere, yet any other shape is okay, basically. So he says a ball's fine, but you can make it a triangle or a square or whatever, but it's going to have all these reflecting surfaces on it so that when you shine lights on it, it will splay out.
Sure.
So that's his idea. Kind of, that was pretty much it. They're like, okay, that was neat. We're not going to do anything with that.
Kinda like
50 years
disco
later,
itself, yeah, right.
50 years later, here comes disco. And it's becomes like important to the scene. It's dance music, and it's late at night, you're at a club, it's dark. They don't want to have lots of big old lights on.
Right.
So they turn on a couple lights and they spotlight them on the disco ball, and it spins around and it just puts lights out in the dance floor. And
Sure.
it heightens the mood, as opposed to like flooding you with light, and that's not fun. There's things happening in the 70s, that you don't want lights shined on a dance floor.
Like their math homework and stuff like that. Yeah,
Probably.
I'm sure that's what it was.
Well, there was a
Should
lot
I
of
take one of these or two of these, man?
how many grams is this? It was that sort of stuff.
The metric
So
system.
the first ones were 24-inch diameter.
That's actually not very big. No.
And then this club in New York opened up, and they're like, you know what? We would need a 36-inch one.
Whoa.
Okay. So they did that.
Is it Studio 54?
No.
Oh.
The next one came in.
Okay.
This place called The Loft. They had a 48-inch one.
Whoa.
Which is a little bit bigger.
It's bigger.
Unfortunately, it fell, and it landed on somebody's head.
Oh, smash.
But it was hollow inside.
Oh.
Thank goodness. And they probably just looked like a shiny disco pumpkin head person. But, fell.
Yeah.
So the disco ball spreads with the music and with the dance scene, because it starts out in New York. It starts out in like the gay clubs, basically. And it spreads to Philly first. And then it gets to Chicago. And then it goes up to Montreal. And then it goes to San Francisco, and then to Paris. So it's following the culture. So it's a cultural thing, really.
Interesting.
With the music. And then it kind of died off. Late 80s, early 90s, they weren't really around anymore. They kind of tied it historically to the AIDS epidemic and crisis and lots of people dying. And that whole culture lost a lot of members, and they weren't going out, and it wasn't really a party scene anymore.
Right.
So it took almost 25 years for it to kind of come back in again. And 1995, Neil Young releases an album called Mirrorball.
Mirrorball. I love
with
that album.
Pearl Jam as basically the backing band, right?
Yep.
And then in 1999, another Canadian, Sarah McLachlan, puts out an album called Mirrorball, which was her big selling mega smash. And I think it has that one song that's real sad with the pets.
Oh, from the pets.
The pet commercials where you could save these bug-infested dogs. Yeah.
That one? Is that the one?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
1997, I saw this firsthand. I was in high school. I was a senior. I got tickets. I called MTV. You remember this? You could buy tickets?
On TRL?
It wasn't TRL, I don't think,
It was
but it
before
was
that,
like
okay.
U2 was going to have a new album, and they had their world tour. And for you to get tickets, you could call MTV.
Yep.
And I did.
Was that the Zooropa tour? Is
It
that what
was the Pop Mart tour. Oh. 97. And guess what? Bono came out of the stage, out from the middle, it went up, and it was a big thing, and it spun around, and it was shaped like a lemon. It was a disco ball lemon, and he was inside.
Oh.
And then he would come out. And I saw this at Arrowhead Stadium. Still
Okay.
the biggest concert I've ever been to, over 100,000 people.
Wow.
One time, I think it was in Brazil or maybe Mexico, somewhere South America, it wouldn't open, and he got trapped inside the disco ball lemon thing. So that wasn't great. But that's how the show would start. It would come up, and their discotheque song play.
Was that the song Lemon? That one?
No,
Oh.
that's from 1995, I believe.
See?
But that's a great song.
Okay.
But that was one that Edge did.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so then 2000s, it comes popular again because of the EDM and dance music and like the New York scene hits again. Oh, there's a band I was going to talk about. I can't remember the name of them. They're from New York City. It's one guy, but it sounds like a big band. James Murphy, whatever his band is.
I was going to say Moby, but that's not right.
Can't think of it. Oh, well, Dolan's staring at me. He's glazed over. Anyway.
Yeah. Disco. Too much disco talk.
Well, just dance music.
Okay.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. So here's why I found this list. Top 10 disco albums for people who don't like disco. There's a couple songs in there I like. I'm all about the songwriting, right? I'm a lyrics person first because I can't play an instrument. So if you got a good hook, good lyrics, then I'm probably in. Melody's important. I'm not a big like hi-hat cymbals guy, which is a lot of disco and that sort of thing. But these, I feel like 6 of these are probably pretty good albums. So we'll go with them. Number 10, Michael Jackson, Off the Wall.
I love that album. That's a great
Gonna
album.
rock with you
Yes.
all night.
That's a disco album?
Yeah, 78.
Okay.
79.
Yes, I'll give
It's
it
got
that.
disco production.
Okay.
I think, what's his name? The producer. I'm drawing a blank.
Butch Vig.
No. Quincy Jones.
Okay.
Quincy Jones did that.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, good.
Donna Summer's big hit album, Bad Girls. She was like
Yeah.
the disco queen.
Uh-huh.
That was her big one.
Okay.
Chic. The album was called Say Chic.
The La Freak.
La Freak.
La Freak,
Right?
yes.
That was their big hit. Number 7, there's this guy, Italian, Giorgio Moroder. From Here to Eternity. That was his album. He was more of a studio wizard and like produced a bunch of stuff. And then very recently, Shooter Jennings did an album which was like a tribute to him.
Really?
And it's weird. But it's
Really?
awesome. If you like Shooter Jennings, check that one out.
I like Jojo Moroder, so
You might like that. He also kind of came back with Daft Punk and a couple other things in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
We talked about this earlier. Gloria Gaynor,
Yeah,
her
Will
album
Survive, yeah.
was called Never Can Say Goodbye, which is I think Jackson 5 sang that about 10 years earlier. Candy Staton, Staton, Young Hearts Run Free. You probably know that song. It was in the Romeo and Juliet movie with
Leonardo DiCaprio?
and Claire Danes.
Really?
Was in that.
Okay. All right.
This seems like a cop out. Barry White's greatest hits.
Oh. But everybody loves Barry White's greatest hits, though.
I guess.
I mean, that's
is it disco-y?
Kind of.
Maybe. I'd just put that more as a soul record.
Okay,
but okay,
that's fine. All right.
Ashford and Simpson, So Satisfied. Now these guys was a husband and wife, I think. Maybe they were together, partners, but they wrote a lot of songs for other people too. So this isn't something you would know off the top of your head, but if you heard some of the songs, you would know them.
Okay.
Casey and the Sunshine Band,
Yeah.
self-titled, Boogie Shoes. Remember that one? And then, of course, number 1, Saturday Night Fever.
Of course.
I will stand by that album.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. The Bee Gees can write a damn song.
Yep. And the Bee Gees have lived on. I mean, now, obviously, some of them haven't, obviously, but their music
say.
has. Their
Yes.
music has. There we go. Lyrically and musically, they have lived on.
Yes.
They
and
had an album in the 90s that
Yeah.
was decent still.
remember the Storytellers episode
Yes.
that they did? That was a
Yes.
huge thing on VH1. And
Yep.
Barry Gibb just put out an album last year.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He has a mega mansion in like Miami, Florida. And it was like a country album.
Weird.
Yeah. And he had one One of my bands that I like, the Rival Sons, the guy from that, Jay, the singer, he does a version of "You Don't Know What It's Like." You know that song? So he sings on that with him. So it's like Barry's doing these duets with these other people.
Yep.
And that was the song that they got to do together. And it was pretty sweet. So
Interesting.
there you go. There's my disco knowledge-o.
I have no argument with that whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Good.
I would put maybe a honorable mention for the Starland Vocal Band.
Afternoon Delight?
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because of not only Good Will Hunting, but because of Anchorman,
Yeah.
there's some mainstream acceptance to that now.
Yeah. I just don't know if it's disco-y enough. Just doesn't have enough of that
Okay, all right.
dance floor vibes.
I own it on vinyl, so it's I bought a used copy one time because I couldn't turn it down. It's a Starland Vocal Band, Afternoon Delight.
It's a pretty funny song.
It is a
when
great
you
song.
listen to it.
It's a great song. Maybe Dolan's band should cover that song.
I don't.
Maybe
yeah.
they should.
They're too sexy. Put it together with that song.
Maybe.
Dangerous.
Dangerous. Totally. Can you imagine Ty singing that song?
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
I can.
I don't know. No, maybe.
Just
maybe
think about it.
Maybe we got a little influence here.
Just
maybe.
work
I don't
on
know.
it.
All right.
Work on it. Just run it through a couple times. That's it.
Give it a shot.
That's all we're asking.
Give it a shot.
Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna grab some afternoon delight.
All right. TripAdvisor, 4 out of 5 on 4.5 out of 5 on 16 reviews. This was the one I clipped out.
Okay.
It was only a 3-star review, but for whatever reason, I don't know. The title was IPAs Only with 3 slammers.
Well, that's not true, as we read earlier, but okay.
If you're a fan of IPAs, you came to the right place. In
Yes.
fact, all the beer that were on tap, that was their grammatic error, not mine,
Okay.
and brewed on site were just that. A few guest taps had other styles, which was okay. Picnic bench setup where you walk up to the bar that did not have seating. No food inside, but a wiener cart outside if you choose.
Oh, yeah.
Wiener cart.
I like a wiener cart. That's my
Clearly,
band
I
name.
picked it only because
Wiener cart.
Wiener cart.
Is that your band name?
Yeah,
Wiener cart.
Sure is.
All right.
Whatever. Clean and new brewery. So I don't know. This guy, I don't know. Maybe he should expand his horizons a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe just go to the Tahoe one or whatever you said.
Well, maybe he just went there for the wiener cart.
Oh,
You never know.
wiener cart.
All right, Untapped, 29,700 check-ins for this beer. I was shocked to see this many check-ins
That's a
for this
lot.
beer. It's been around for a minute.
362.
That's pretty good. I think 373.
4.02.
Wow.
I know. On 29,000, almost
Yeah.
30,000 check-ins, and it's and it's a 4.
Wow.
I think I'm gonna probably rate it a 4.
I will too.
I really liked it.
I guess maybe I don't know. I don't even know what to think. I don't know. This one might be better than some of the East Coast IPAs I've had. I had some Trillium recently.
Whoa.
I revisited some Treehouse. Not that those beers are bad.
No.
Maybe I've just had a lot of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Fiddlehead. I had Fiddlehead for is that right? Yeah,
I don't
Fiddlehead
know.
for the first time when we were out there in Boston, and great. It was really, really good. I would think this is better.
It's really okay.
This is better.
Wow.
I guess it depends on what you're looking for, though. So
Well, I mean, this guy, he worked at a place that made IPAs, so he should
Yeah.
know how to make IPAs.
You would
and
think
he
so.
Obviously does.
yeah, you would think so.
Yum.
All right, we are breaking ground next week. 200 episodes. Next week is our 200th episode.
Wow.
I know, right? So
That's a lot of beers.
I have some fun announcements. Each one of us is going to bring a beer and do some research, and then we'll share them with each other. Hopefully from different parts of the country, and
I picked one that we've never talked about, as far as we've never featured them before.
Okay.
And it's a style that I enjoy, and it's some personal stuff to it, so I can't
Sweet.
wait.
Awesome. I can't wait to see what Dolan brings too. Maybe it's an IPA.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's something he picked up at Casey's on the way in. We'll find out.
Some Steel
Which
Reserve.
Dolan will show up? We don't know.
Which one?
I don't know.
That's entirely possible. So please join us next week for our 200th episode. I never in my wildest dreams thought we'd make it to 200 episodes, but
We're like double syndication now.
Oh, kind
The
of.
TV days, we'd be rich.
And like I said, I've got some fun announcements next week too for the future of the beer podcast and that and those types of things. So until then, we're not going anywhere for a while.
Let's have another beer.
Thank you for listening to A Beer with Atlas. Special thanks to our brand team for producing the show. Each episode of A Beer with Atlas is powered by Atlas MedStaff, an industry leader in travel healthcare staffing.